to another stream. Today's stream, well, we're just going to spend a little bit of time doing some painting. I was going to do the animations, however, given the time of night, I'm just going to opt to do a bit of painting, just so that when I do the animation side of things, the camera looks a little better. So for the most part, I am just following. I'm just using this little piece here as just sort of my guide. What that'll do for me is it will help me with come up with all the line placements and stuff. Which is, yeah. Makes life a little bit easier. So just using my usual tool, the pathing tool, with everything else. And primary reason why I use the path tool is just, look, I just find it just gives the best result. It's adjustable. Yeah, that's the main reason really. It's just easier to have something that's adjustable when you're working. Unfortunately, you can see a lot of the seams here. So if we go back to the model, and I just do that. So that nose section did not quite work out as I was planning. I was hoping to get it to be in the UV map, just like everything. Let's just find it on the UV map. Oh my lord. That got scattered everywhere. Kinda. But yeah, so the seams are all over the place in terms of their positions and stuff. So, main problem is that because of all those seams, you'll definitely see that. What I can do is I'll put in just put in some more put in a seam line there, and I'm just going to get the tip of this nose going. And for this part, I'll just do a projection view, which will give me that. And let's just grab everything, do this, and this is going to suck a little bit because it means I'll have to redo the bake. but I'll average out the UV map and repack it. So there's the nose cone. So the plus side is that's going to remove the seam from around that nose, and I might have to do UV adjustments all over the place. So yeah, we can see the new seams there. Just got to remember how to use all the keybinds once again. Oh, okay. Well, I got rid of the seam, but unfortunately because the actual texture is not from the side, it does not help. So, oh. Yeah, sorry. Is the usual late at night here. What's that from? Oh, okay. Well, let's oh, yep, a little bit too tired at the moment, aren't I? Re-input that. Remember all the keybinds again. It it is a little bit frustrating because in Substance Painter you got to use the Alt key to rotate this camera and stuff, and that is kind of annoying. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that for the moment and try to fix it up later. In the meantime, we're gonna go and do rebake the entire model. Which will take a moment, and yeah. So I was having a think the other day about I want to say small, potentially small jobs. However, in practice, nothing is ever that small. Um, but just something that could be reasonably quick and easy to go and add into CPAL. That adds functionality and just gives people uh, something to play with for a little bit while other functionalities and stuff is on hold. And one of the ideas was, and I don't know how to actually pull it off because I can semi-read the script code that's used in Unity, but writing it is a completely different question. But what I was thinking of was basically like you write a script, which the whole purpose is um, it reads a bunch of different folders, and in those folders are a bunch of mission files, and you set up those mission files to be somewhat generic in terms of unit placements and stuff. You just have a few different ones just to sort of cycle through. So what happens then is you go to mission editor and you go and set up your own little fleet. And what I would like the script to do is it would scan the file that you just made, and it would copy the blue for fleet composition and locations and all that stuff, and then place them into the mission, so that you could play a whole host of different missions that are already in the game or have been made by users, and you can change the fleet layout. And in the script, you can also set it like what a random, like an idea would be. You can set it up so it can do it can be randomized. So you don't always know what kind of mission you're going to get. Now the part that makes it not as simple is how do you balance it? And a point system comes to mind, but then that part gets complicated because okay, there is some form of points already in CPAL. If you look at all the vessel INI files, they've already got point costs associated with them. How they've come to those conclusions, to the values of those points, I can't say. But there is something there. So you could say you can go and design missions to have a certain point cost, all in mind. So, say you have a few different sizes. The script can be set up to cater to whatever size mission you want to play, and then you need to build a point cost unit that is like roughly say 1/3 the cost of the red 4 unit. And the reason why I would go for either like 1/3 or a half is because the AI isn't quite there. So therefore you need to give the players a bit of a handicap. Within reason, of course. So, that was one idea, and that would give players a bit more replayability with some of the missions, and you'd give them something to sort of chew over for a little bit. For a little bit, anyways. The other idea was shit, what did I write down? Because I had two ideas. Oh, okay, yeah. The other idea was something that could be implemented into linear campaigns, and the whole idea of this script is that it reads the end the mission result screen and scanning for blue 4 ships that have 100% damage on them, written off as sunken, and then it will scan the next mission file along and delete those units out. And that will give you some carryover. The whole idea is just give you some carryover, and that adds functionality to linear missions. All we need is be able to just to be able to read these missions. Oh, what has happened there? Oh. It always does this. You gotta reset stuff because OBJ files don't always save everything perfectly. And you end up with lost data all the time. Okay, gotta repick that. Yeah. So, anyways, so adding a script reader that can read and write from the end of one linear mission and write it into the next, I want to say is the simpler of the two. And it gives tasks and stuff that to mission makers. Gives them more tools to work with. Whereas the other one is a little bit more complicated. And I'm sure if I go and have a look, I can probably go and find, have a look through the log screen. I could probably find where, where it records that data. When you have a mission success or mission failure screen, how it displays it. And I feel like, yeah, that would be beneficial. Whether or not that's gonna happen, yeah. Well, it's kind of the choice of only having so many skills. What I can probably do is send just another Ave a message and see if I can perk their interest. You know what? Never hurts to ask. Last thing you can do is just keep a thought to yourself. Because when you do that, nothing happens. And if nothing happens, well, yeah. Like, look, let's be honest, worst that's gonna happen is, I get told, nope, can't do it, or, you know, don't have time, all that stuff. So, it doesn't hurt to just ask. Oh dear. But if anybody happens to come on and has wish to share their thoughts, by all means, go for it. Oh dear. Ugh. Dear, dear. I apologize for the constant yawning. Joy's having a little bubba in the house is you don't get as much sleep. Hey, Seabase. Uh, Seabase, I'm on voice chat in Discord if you want to pop on. Ah, oh, all good. Hopefully, doesn't last for too long. I was just sharing my ideas of um potential thing that should not take too much time for the devs if they wish to implement something, um, but would add more functionality to linear campaigns because let's be honest, with the whole announcement that dynamic campaign is going to be delayed and all that stuff because the devs need more time to work on the AI, which is fair. It does put a bit of a damper on things. So, the idea was to be able to read the end result screen of each mission, because each linear campaign mission, they're just meant to be in sequence. So, if you can read end results and then just have it simply edit the forces of the next mission. Say, for example, you know, you had HMS Glowworm, for example. In one mission, it would scan, check for ship names being present in the next mission, and in the end result, if that one in the previous one that you just finished, if that one was lost or destroyed, it would simply just remove it from the next mission. I don't feel like that would be too hard for the devs to implement. I feel like that might be an afternoon job. And then that just adds more things for mission makers to play with when it comes to building missions. I know. Yeah, it will give a sense of progression, which is something we don't really have at the moment in terms of in C-Power. Which is a little bit sucky in my books. Yeah, well, the problem with all good ideas is if you can't find someone to do it, you need to go and do it yourself, basically. Let's try to think of some small options that the devs could try. So, Seabase, what have you got planned or happening at the moment? Oh, okay. I don't know. Look, when in doubt, just use more like, just use a default thing. And I'm sure, you know, people will go and tell you later if it's right or if it's wrong, all that lovely jazz. Always, you're gonna end up hung up on that one thing, and yeah, then yeah, it's not fun from there. What's going on there? But yeah, in the name of just keeping things moving, I suggest basically focus on just just focus on just getting like a stand in there. Use a default thing, and then that way you can move on to the next part. Oh, it's this bloody bit. Okay, split them, and move them out. Select everything, and I'm gonna repack this. Okay, at least I worked out where the overlap was happening. rebake it again. Ooh. I do have to ask, what brought about the interest in the Chinese ship? True. I don't know how you counter a Burke. I think it's more about just fleet compositions, really. That is one reason why I don't look too hard at the post 80s stuff. It's because the goal is to pretty much just overwhelm the enemy defenses. And the further along you go, the more busy it gets.
I think the duckies that went too far.
Hey mate, how you doing?
Supposedly trying to study.
Always the way.
Yeah, it's literally the last exam and I'm done with the university, but I can't pass it. I'm failing.
I mean, look, we're all failing till we crammed the night before. What are you studying?
But I also... what's the name in English? It's historical sciences in Italian, so history. But what's the name in English of the level? Give me a sec.
Yeah, you're all good.
I think master's degree, it's the equivalent. Yeah, master's degree.
A master's degree in history.
Yes, laurea magistralis. I don't know. What do you use? You are in Europe now?
No, sorry.
No? Okay. So do you know the basics of the system, 3 years plus 2 years?
The what years, sorry?
I send you an image, so it's faster. Because I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to find a decent image, but I'm a bit of... I don't know, I'm just confused today.
It's all good. What type of, well, what history are you trying to major in?
Medieval.
Ah, okay. Yeah, there's none of that here in Australia.
Ah, okay, in Australia, yes.
Yeah, nah,
Uh,
there's nothing.
Give me a sec.
When it,
I
when it comes to
give
ancient
Oh, maybe
histories, when it comes to ancient history in Australia, it's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders history stuff that they teach.
Okay, found a decent image. No, here. Basically, I'm in the second cycle.
Oh, okay.
So yes, I was making a mess just to explain that simple thing.
You're all good. Yeah, the different levels of yeah.
Anyway, so you have to finish this a single exam, which is also the only obligatory one, and I'm failing miserably.
Oh, what do you need to pass this one?
Sorry, repeat. What?
What do you need to pass?
It's a single exam, and is obligatory. Obligatory, yeah, mandatory.
Yep,
And
mandatory, sorry. Yep.
the theme is a bit weird to explain. It's basically the evolution of the study of history, but it's extremely theoretical. So it's many authors, many of their works, and their opinions about how history should be treated, studied, etc.
Okay, so what's the right word for it all? It's not theoretical, not ethical, shit.
Yeah, theoretical. Like, for example, this is one of the books. Well, let me find one in English because...
Yeah, I hate to say it, but that's just a blank cover.
Yeah, I deleted. This one. No, it's not this one. Give me a
What
second.
is history?
It's not this one. This is another of his work. Give me a second.
Well, I think in terms of history, it should all be taught to varying degrees, and there is no right or wrong answer into how much you can teach of any particular type of history. But the main purpose of it is to
No, okay, it's this book. Okay.
main purpose in my mind is always to try and teach the new generation about about the mistakes that were made in the previous.
That's not strictly what historian thinks, because this is not about what to teach, but how to learn history. How to use the information you have to create theories, how to recognize errors in judgment you might make, how to recognize influences that helped, let's say, to create ideas about certain subjects and that sort of thing.
Well, generally
It's a
speaking,
bit more complicated than simply teaching history.
I mean, step one is you got to create an interest. If there's no interest there, you can't teach it to anybody.
Yeah, but it's not the interest, the subject of the course. It's a bit complicated. It's not the subject how to create interest. That is not something this exam is about. It's about how you historians should work with history and to study it. Again, that's the best I can do to explain it.
Well, alright, so
It's
break down the...
it's weird.
Alright, well, break
Like
down
for example,
the process you need to go, like the things you need to go and do to get yourself ready.
kind because it's also not a simple list of what you need to do. It's a strange thing to pass. That's why I am having problem. That's why I am having problem. I also need to speak more in English because I really suck at it. Writing fine, but speaking I really suck.
So you sound like you might need, like a
Experience.
click moment. Like, I'm studying, financial planning at the minute, and I've read a lot of information, but a lot of it is not, like, the pieces aren't coming quite together yet. And I need to go and spend a bit of time, absorbing that information. Um, so, I mean, if I was to take, my previous profession, which was, early childhood education, um, part of it is just taking a nap, because with part of the learning process for children, and even with adults, is you have a sleep so that you can transition short-term memory into long-term memory. I know it sounds crazy, but that is part of learning. Have a nap.
No, that I know, but I also know I never have an app. I never had an app. Like since I was a small child, I literally never had to sleep.
Napping is extremely important for, good, healthy brain development in young children.
Uh, think so, but I literally didn't have one since I was
Well,
what,
look,
in the
I'm not saying
childcare, I
all
think.
children will do it, but I am saying it, like, from,
No,
like, a
no,
study standpoint, is the healthiest, part of the healthy ways of letting a child's brain develop.
yeah, I get the idea. I simply never had the drive to. Like I'm doing stuff, I'm still awake.
I've had some children in my care who, yeah, they never napped. They were more interested in just getting on to the next thing, then the next thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. Whereas some children, like I found, like they would just sleep for 3 hours, and we'd just sit there wondering, okay, they must really need that.
Yeah, that's. Oh my god. Oh. I took one of the book in English, so I can give a better idea of what's this book like, and it's just one of the books.
Alright, let's have a look.
It's an old book. It's from the 60s, but it's still decently relevant. It's also a small one because it's a transcription of radio recordings of the lessons
Hmm,
because it was created as a format for the radio.
it's got a bit of philosophy by the looks.
Kinda. It's really theoretical. That's the problem to me.
Always the egg. The egg came before the chicken.
Ah, yes. A lot of philosophy. At some point, he says that the human is like a fisher for some reason. Let me check again. A fisherman, not a fisher. Huh? Hmm? Kinda. There is a section. There is a lot of stuff around. It's a weird book. Not. It's it's still relevant, but it's so nebulous. Like I already know these things, so it's really hard to me to learn them again for the exam.
I mean, it's not so much that you're learning them again, it's that you're trying to apply what you'd already know from a different
I
point of view.
I literally have to remove what I know to learn in detail what these authors know, and remove my opinion and what's to say foresight because things have changed. So I have many opinions on things they say that are no longer correct. So it's very hard to keep them in mind. Many of their takes at this point are also kind of obsolete. Not all of them, but it's also it's hard to remember what they say without judging them, and in details without over what's the term again? Overwriting what you know on them. Overlapping. Ah,
I'm listening, sorry, I'm kind of doing like two things at once.
anyway, enough with this. Also, beside trying to study, I'm watching the stock market going up and down.
Yeah, the Australian ASX crashed by 6% today, and from what I saw on the news earlier, they managed to bounce back a little bit. Um,
It's chaotic.
but it's just scalping definitely. But then for the rest of the week, it's gonna go down. It's gonna keep falling for a while till it hits that support.
Mm.
And yeah, I was looking at like
It's not probably going to be better.
yeah, no, but it's just all part of the economic cycle.
Mm,
It'll drop for a
I
bit,
don't know.
um, and you're gonna have a lot of people who are going to be selling out. There's gonna be a lot of people just selling like mad, and most of that is from people trying to protect their profits, because they've already made their money because we're essentially coming out of a bull market, which finished actually a few months ago. Thinking about it, um, and we're going into a proper bear market now,
Mm.
which means people don't spend.
It's a mess.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't really make much money in a bear market. But hey, this helps Trump.
Mm, too bad I can't legally express myself on his presidency.
Yeah, believe me, there's a lot of opinions out there.
Also, English is a bad language and it lacking profanities. It's very dry and sad.
Oh, yes and no.
You can't even blasphemize God properly.
No, we just use his name.
Yeah, it's so sad. Have you ever tried to do like a German and started connecting insults in a string? And
Um,
it gets very, very long.
Look, the most I swear in German is just saying Schweizer or calling someone a
Ah,
jerk
yes.
off, and that's it. That's about as much as I know how to swear in German.
No, no, the swears are really said too, even worse. Famously, the German-speaking Italians use Italian when they have to swear because it's better.
Oh, okay. I take it they is that like part of the what's it Switzerland region? Because I
No,
know
it's the
when I
Trent Trentino. It's in English. Sud Tirol.
because I remember when I did go to Europe years ago.
Yes.
Switzerland was like it was confusing because like hang on, they speak French, they speak Italian, they
Mhm.
speak German.
Italy. So yes, there are no Swiss German speaking in Italy. There are a lot of Italian speaking in Swiss, and they generally look up down on Italians because yes.
Is that because they're
But
up in
that's
the Alps?
aside. Yeah, because we are worse than them, something like that. Anyway, the Italian German speaking are in the South Tyrol, which is the Trent above Verona region.
I Yeah, I can't
Ah,
quite tell you. I don't really know the different regions off the top of my head. Sorry.
yeah, it's. I use the Verona because it's more iconic, so people tend to remember it. Anyway, we have a few German speaking.
Well, most I can say is living in Adelaide, we do have a lot of
Yes.
German heritage here. Um,
Mm.
Adelaide was the only city in Australia that was founded by free settlers, so we've got that going for us. And if you ever, I do recall watching like a few little like tourist videos, and they definitely
Mm.
love to emphasize, yeah, we weren't founded with convicts. So yeah, there's a bunch of
Mm.
different places all around in South Australia, like the Barossa and Lindorf and Harndorf, and lots of German named towns in
Mhm.
Adelaide, as well as churches. Because part of the history of it all,
Okay.
um, part of the history of this city was because it was founded mostly by German Lutherans. Because back in the mid,
Must have been, yeah, must have been the 19th century.
it was around in the mid 1850s to 1880s. We're talking in the era between when sailing ships were still the main means to get to Australia, but things were starting to transition to ironclads and steam drives and all that stuff. So my ancestors, they came from a region from Poland, and originally, back then it was part
Mhm.
of Poland, because the German king back in that time apparently proclaimed that they were only going to have one Christian denomination, and Lutheran was not going to be it. So the Lutherans got told, basically there was a mass exodus, and they went to America, they went to Australia, they went all over the place. Um, and yeah, Adelaide was settled with a very strong Lutheran, German Lutheran background, and we have a lot of churches to thank for that.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, look, it's just that's the history of Adelaide.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm just a bit distracted. I mean, it's fine. It's the Easter. It's the local Easter.
I guess does get a bit funny when you get to like World War I, World War II, because
Mm.
town names suddenly changed.
Mm. yes, that happened a lot.
And there's all sorts of other funny history pieces in there, like that could be that were related from World War Two, for example. Like we had about around 30,000 Italian POWs like get sent to
Ah,
Australia,
yes, that thing.
and
A
essentially
lot of remain.
yeah they got a lot of them ended up out in the outback, um, and they didn't really bother to guard them very well, so that often they would escape, and then they just come back and they're like, "Fuck, there's nothing out there, guys."
If it works.
Yeah, a lot of them just ended up staying actually. So Melbourne has very strong Italian history to it,
Yeah, we know that there's also plenty of Italians I know that went to Australia in the last years.
and it's the Italians who are the reason why Starbucks never became a thing in
Mm,
Australia as well.
thank God.
Yeah, we like our coffee.
To be honest, Starbucks has started to work a little in Italy, but it's not for the coffee. It's for their more unique drinks. Like personally, the Frappuccino, it's not a coffee. I don't care about the coffee. It's caramel. I like that thing.
Yeah, I normally
I appreciate that.
get a caramel latte whenever I go get a coffee.
Mm.
Mostly because a lot of places, like if I go to like Macca's and I get a coffee from there, they don't know how to stir. So if I get a shot of caramel in it, it's fine.